Good afternoon, everyone. Here we are for another one of our series in podcast. I'm here with Ian Harris. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Outcrop Silver and Gold. Welcome, Ian.
Hey, Sherman. Always nice to chat.
Yeah, great to hear from you. Well, let's just get right into it, Ian. I mean, most recently you had some really good results on the recovery news release. Maybe you can go over those outstanding results for us.
Yeah, first is a broader message, right? Outcrop has, historically, I think, been known as one of the premier primary silver projects out there, putting out spectacular results. But now it's showing that it holds all together in its maiden resource. Lets market know that this project has significant legs. So this is a part of it, right? Demonstrating, okay, a resource holds together. Another significant checkbox is the metallurgy. So in this latest testing, getting 97% recovery for gold and 93% recovery in silver, just in flotation, is huge. Because first it was a lock cycle testing, so that reflects much more closely an actual plant, right? It's trying to simulate how a plant would actually work. And something I got to ask a couple of questions. So I also want to make sure that everybody understands the reason we're getting such incredible recoveries is because the majority, about 88% of the mineralogy of the silver is actually in a sulfide form. So we're not seeing, so we'll continue to do leaching and looking at some other different optimizations, but it is a really nice platform to be able to sit and say, we're getting incredible recoveries just with flotation and getting very attractive concentrate grades, which obviously from an environmental standpoint is a lot more attractive for permitting and environmentally. And then the initial static test work also showing not that it's very low chance of having acid mine drainage in the tailings. So these are some big check boxes that really, really give the project lots of legs in an area that is, since Spanish colonial times has been a historical mining district, has mines that are operating nearby. It's an area in Tolima that knows mining. And so I think that's a big part of my job is getting that part of the story out, that this project is got significant potential to become a future mine.
Those are really good points, Ian. And I mean, I think we were talking just before we got onto the podcast about the stunning opportunity of Outcrop. Given that it's one of the premier silver deposits really in the world. I mean, that was part of the news release, and I think for investors, what a wonderful time to be buying junior stocks and looking like a story like Outcrop, where silver is really silver and gold are really better than money in the bank. And I think you make some great points about how important Outcrop is and how important the developments have been on the underlying business story of Outcrop.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, if I had to answer why outcrop in an elevator, it's pretty straightforward. There's probably only a handful, and I could only name five off the top of my head, of primary silver projects that have these kinds of resource grades that give it a whole head up on its feasibility moving forward in terms of economics. Second, you're in silver. It's a primary silver. It's silver is now hitting that point where there's an increasing demand due to the energy transition. I think most people don't know the important use of, for example, in solar panels. It's the most efficient metal at transmitting electricity. It's number one. Number two is copper. So when efficiency is key, silver is key. And then it's a new story. And it's something that people will finally understand, that this is more than just an exploration project. We have a serious resource behind us, and that resource is just the beginning. Right, we're only on a very small portion of the overall veins that have been tested or have been mapped and tested, sampled to date. So we have lots of legs to, not increase by 20%, but double, triple, quadruple the size of the overall resource. And the other nice thing is we're drilling, and Outcrop is definitely famous for putting out those eye-popping results that get everybody's attention. So it's got a lot of things going for it. We have a great strategy, lots of room for growth. We're going to be putting out news, and we have a combination, I think, of demonstrating we can increase the resource, and that we're de-risking the project as we move forward. So those are two significant catalysts that I can think create a lot of growth for shareholders.
Well, it's going to be an exciting September, and I, certainly myself and a number of investors are, continuing to buy these junior stocks. And I mean, there's never a way to call the bottom in the junior stock market, but I think as we talked about earlier, people are going to be very surprised how quickly these things can turn. And if you can acquire a quality asset like Outcrop Silver and Gold at 20 cents a share, I think investors are going to be very surprised at how quickly these things can move up.
Yeah, we talked about that. I mean, you look across a broader market, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, because the prices are so depressed, an upswing of 20 to 30%, and it happens in a blink of an eye, and we're starting to see. I think general, right? Everybody knows the general market, mining, and especially silver, are a little, over undervalued right now, without a doubt. But we're starting to see some stocks that have been doubling in price over
Yeah.
2 or 3 days, which are the kind of indications where, whoa, something is going on. Those first little sparks, I think I'm very anxious, moving forward.
No, I'm right with you, Ian, and I continue to tell investors, pick the quality stories, pick the quality management, be involved in silver companies, be involved in gold companies, and be aggressive. Now's the time to be aggressive and pick your spots, but pick the right stories.
Yeah, I agree. And then so that's the one of the easiest formulas for success, right? You don't have to pick the exact bottom, but if you're on a good project with good team, good legs, good forward direction, it's one of the things I love about being a mining engineer. I always look at a project from a perspective: does it have a chance to become a future mine? And those are the type of projects I want to be involved in, with a strategy to get there. And Outcrop really is checking those boxes, and we'll continue to check them as we move forward.
Well, thanks for your time today, Ian. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks, Sherman.